Hey everybody, welcome to Goots' Wrestling Pod. I'm your host, Ray Goots, and with me is Andrew Lee. Andrew, how you doing, brother?
I'm super. Thanks for asking. How are you?
I'm feeling great. And normally this time of the show we talk about current events. However, we're recording early and everything's going to be out of date, so there's nothing more to say. So let's get right into Spring Stampede. Overall, I thought this was a pretty good show. I thought that it could have been, there's parts that could have been better, but overall, I'm like, it's a pretty solid WCW show. What about you?
Um, nah, I don't think Spring Stampede was that. It was
I
I
mean, it
I
was
thought it was
uneventful.
just an average show. It's just an average show, honestly.
That's kind of what I mean. It's
Yeah.
it's uneventful. Like, I mean, DDP has a great moment, but yeah.
I don't even think that's that as good as everyone thinks it is. But we could get into that. We're probably gonna disagree about this one as well. It's more interesting how in the beginning we're seeing things eye to eye. But
Mhm.
now going into 1997, we're seeing some differences between your take and my take, and I wonder why that is.
Um, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe because like you see modern wrestling different than me. Because right now we're kind of entering modern wrestling.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah, maybe you're right because it's more,
This
modern
is
in the
more.
sense of like,
You're gonna see more matches like the ones we saw on this show at AEW than you will like matches that we saw at Starcade '89, for example. You know.
by the way, I did see that Outrunners versus FTR match, fucking phenomenal, and it was old school tag team wrestling that
Yes.
would fit into 1997.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So it was fantastic. But that's what we're covering. Spring Stampede in 1997. That's about over 20 years ago, but it's like the modern style that we're gonna see even to this day. Uh it's WCW, so they have a crazy long tagline. These men do solemnly swear to kick, fight, punch, stomp, and flatten anyone who gets in their way. Stupid. But anyway, takes place, I'm sure it was cool, in April 6th, 1997, taking place Tupelo, Mississippi. 8,000, over 8,000 people are in attendance, 210,000 pay per view buys. Let's do a
Yeah.
little comparison. Oh, I'm sorry?
What is
Yeah, we're gonna do a
what
little
is what's the
comparison.
number
By the way,
for Best of Friends? No, I'm sorry, Revenge of Taker. Sorry, Best.
yeah, Revenge of Taker, which takes place April 20th, so that's like about 2 weeks after Spring Stampede. 11,000 people are in attendance, so it drew more in attendance. However, pay per view buys were 142,000. So Spring Stampede is still WCW is still outdrawing them on pay per view buys by a lot, not by a little, by a lot. By the
Well,
way,
again, yes, go.
the last Spring Stampede was in 1994. It's like 3 years ago. Why did they all of a sudden decide to bring it back? Do you know any insight into that?
They needed a show every month,
Okay,
and
yeah,
and they needed a show every month. And Spring Stampede, it's April's to spring, and there you go. It's a good name. People
that's
like
good
the name.
enough. Yeah, I like Spring Stampede. It sounds all right. Like it sounds okay. It doesn't sound terrible. You know, that's a
Mm-hmm.
good enough reason, right? That is definitely a good enough reason. All right, so the introduction of the show goes over the entire card. We got a whole Western theme to this. Remember, this is the one where the four horsemen did a whole Western, skit for it. The stage, by the way, I thought was really nice. There's a whole Western stage. Did you like the stage, the entrance when they come out?
Yeah, like I like these special things. I'm so bored with the stages that they have now. You know.
I when I was watching this, I thought the same thing you did. I would love it if they go all out again and do stuff like their stages. They're where it's like a theme, like maybe like a Halloween Havoc. Really live it up. Really do like a real horror theme, like a graveyard and all that stuff. I want, it's fun. Every once in a while, I want to see that shit too. Yeah. We got the three men on commentary: Tony Schiavone, Bobby the Brain Heenan, D Rhodes, and we're gonna go right into our first match: the Ultimate Dragon with no Sonny Ono. I hope you weren't too sad, Ray. Ultimate Dragon by himself versus
Mhm.
Rey Mysterio. By the way, before this match begins, they do mention that Rey Mysterio and Jennifer Aniston, the rumors of them dating, which came out from the National Enquirer, they do mention it here. I remember this, dude. I remember this, like this rumor that Rey Mysterio and Jennifer Aniston were dating. Do you remember this?
Yeah, it was in the Inquirer. Yeah.
Yeah. It was such a random thing. I don't know who came up with that. It's such a weird thing, but yeah.
Um,
WCW is loving the press for it, though. They are.
the thing about it is, without Sonny Siaki, the thing about it is, bro, you know what's annoying to me? The commentators keep being like, "Where's Sonny Siaki? Where's Sonny Siaki?" Like, bro, no one's asking where's Sonny
Sonny,
Siaki.
Sonny Ono. Sonny Ono.
Sonny Ono. It's no one cares about him or Sonny Siaki. And
Dude, it
then,
was a breath of fresh air with him not being here.
bro, I was listening to Eric Bischoff's podcast again, and he said something like, one of the key components of our success was Sonny Ono because he was able to really uh, talk with the Japanese offices and really. And I'm like, bro, you know what? I don't know how you succeeded. I don't know how you succeeded that you think Sonny Ono was a anyone. You get anybody. You get a homeless guy that talks Japanese to do what he did. Like, come on, bro.
Yeah, all you needed was basically a translator. That's all you needed.
It was the thing about Sonny Ono is he's this guy's friend, and he's going to take care of him. He's been taking care of him since the '80s, and he has to make excuses of why his loser friend, you know.
Yeah. What do you call it? Nepo hire by Eric Bischoff. But I don't know why he wasn't here. Maybe he was taking a shit. I have no idea, but I'm glad he's not there. Um, this match is fantastic. Ultimate Dragon goes to work on Raid right away. Really hard hits. It almost looked like he was mad at him. He hits a Liger bomb on Ray. He hits a tombstone on Ray. He's just going hard. Ray Mysterio does fight back. He does that Tiger Fang kick through the ropes, a 619, but he doesn't do it to hit him. He just kind of fakes out um, Ultimate Dragon. When he's doing that, by the way, he does kick the cameraman, which I thought was kind of funny. Ray, he does his own stuff too. He does a flying dive onto the Ultimate Dragon. Um, During this match, they take you backstage and they show you Lee Marshall knocking on the NWO's door because he wants to get some answers. And Six, the 123 kid, opens the door and he starts mumbling something. You can't hear anything. Because WCW, they didn't realize that they needed audio, so you can't hear anything. You just hear him close the door. It was a waste of time. Takes away from this great match as Rey Mysterio fights back. He starts working on Old Dragon, a guillotine leg drop on Ultimate Dragon. And then, however, when Rey Mysterio is climbing up the ropes, Dragon kicks him off and he falls to the floor. And then Ultimate Dragon does a slingshot crossbody from the ring to the floor. Awesome move. Rey Mysterio springboard, moonsault back, but Ultimate Dragon catches him with a drop kick, swings him around in that Cesaro helicopter airplane spin. Fans really like that. That's always a fun spot. They do a back and forth pinfall cover reversals, and then Rey Mysterio decides to do a springboard off the second rope and hits the West Coast pop to win the match. Surprise win. Fantastic opening match. I gave it an A minus. This is one of those must watch. This is the best match on the show, by the way. This is for
Yes,
opening match.
it's the best match on the show. It just proves to you that we don't need any distractions. These two should just be able to do what they want.
Yes,
And what a fantastic match. I loved it. Um, I loved it. And Ultimate Dragon and Rey Mysterio are great together. This was the best match they've had out of the three we've seen them have. They're starting to really get their groove as opponents.
I agree. You're absolutely right about that. So after this match, we go back to Lee Marshall in the back again, and he tries the NWO door again because previously when he did it, you couldn't hear anything, so it was a waste of a segment. They do it again. Six opens the door again, and this time, as he opens the door to talk to Lee Marshall, the Steiner brothers show up. And they're like, let us in. We want at the NWO. We want at the NWO. And Nash sticks his head out and he goes, hey, where's Nick Patrick? We want Nick Patrick. And then he spits on Scott Steiner. And this causes Scott Steiner to start going ballistic, trying to attack the NWO. So the cops who are there, they end up macing Scott Steiner in the face and arresting taken away. So interesting. There's gonna be no Scott Steiner. Let's go to our second match, Ray. It's a women's.
You know the funny thing is
Yeah,
about the Scott Steiner thing is that he uh he gets like they go right to macing him for like no like legit reason. Like they just go right to murdering this guy, and he I said this last time. He really sounds like the NWO Scott Steiner. You know?
yeah, that's just like his voice. I feel like before this period, we never ever got to hear Scott Steiner speak. Almost like I don't recall ever really hearing him speak. Um,
Yeah.
so it's just kind of like people should have just been giving him more of a chance to talk. I guess he's he is a very underrated person on the microphone. Like he's like unintentionally funny, in my opinion. Like some of the stuff he says, like he's a meme now. There's those videos of him like doing Steiner math and him mumbling his words and stuff like that, jumbling his words as he speaks. He's a fucking hilarious guy. Um,
Yeah.
by the way, there's this lady who I see at the library. Just like a weird lady. She just goes to the library to watch AEW, right? She's always
Weird.
watching AEW and this computer on this older, big, heavy set woman. She kind of on the spectrum. She goes to the library and she watches AEW all the time, and
Mhm.
she's really into it. So one time we were leaving together, and I kind of mentioned to her, like, "Hey, I'm a wrestling fan too, and I noticed that you watch AEW, you like it, yeah." And then I was like asking her who her favorite was, and her favorite wrestler was Scott Steiner, and she starts going off on his catchphrases. Right, so I had to walk away. She just started going, "Holla if you hear me." Right? I had to like just start walking away. I was like, "All right, that's too much. That's too much." But yeah, he catchphrases were fantastic from Scott Steiner. Unfortunately, this next match is not fantastic. It's the second match of the show. Women's WCW Women's Championship match. Medusa versus Akira Hakuto, who is the champion, who comes out with Sonny Ono. Sonny Ono finally finished taking his shit, and he's coming out here. Um, Akira takes the fight to Medusa early on. Medusa fights back with some shitty offense. She rips off her top, and then Akira regains control of the match from that. Sonny Ono does get to slap Medusa around a little bit, and then he chokes her on the ropes. And Lee Marshall, who's on commentary because he was doing commentary for the women's tournament or some shit, he mentions does go, "Hey, remember Medusa? She tossed out that WWF belt. Well, it doesn't say it's WWF, but he mentions that that's what they did. She did when she first showed up, which was a huge mistake if you think about it, because it's just been pure garbage. And can you imagine if Medusa never did that and she stayed in WWF? She could be working a program with China, right?
Yeah, no, she right now she would be China more. Dude, like I watched this match and I'm like, I know in her head she's like, oh, it's great, I got to wrestle this woman, whatever her name is. But in my head, I'm like, bro, you could have been doing big things WWE. Like you burned the bridge for no good reason.
She burns the bridge and she comes into WCW. I don't know if you remember this. The first thing she's doing, she's Robert Lee Parker's like girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that? It was like a waste of fucking time. She
Yeah,
just was stupid. And here's another thing too. Medusa's not as good as a wrestler everyone thinks she is.
yeah.
She's not. She stinks in this match.
No,
Medusa, she eventually kicks Sonny Ono off the apron, which gets a cheer. The referee is distracted with Sonny Ono who's on the floor. Medusa sets up Akira Hakuto for a power bomb, but then Luna Vachon comes out and she kicks Medusa's knee from behind, which allows Akira to kind of roll her up for the win. Like I said, Medusa is not that good of a wrestler. She's a bit sloppy compared to like Bull Nakano, but compared to Akira Hakuto, she's sloppy. I give this a C plus. Not a good match. Boring.
yeah, very bad.
Yeah. You got nothing to that. We could just go straight to the third match. You want to do that, or you want
Yeah,
to?
I kind of had all I had to say about this match earlier. Yeah, yeah, about Medusa being a bozo.
Yeah, but just being a bozo. Let's go to match number 3. It's for the TV title. We got William Regal, who's looking a bit chubby here. versus
Winner,
Prince
winner.
Kea, the champion.
Mhm.
I This year I read William Regal's autobiography, and this is the time period I believe when he's on drugs a lot.
Mhm.
And the first thing that started going was his weight. He started putting on some massive weight because he would get fucked up and then eat super late at night and not work out as much. So this is the period when you watch. He's still a good wrestler. He's complete. He's You could tell he's out of shape. Um, William Regal, he's talking with the fans right before this match a lot, stalling a lot. And during this time period, Tony Schiavone lets us know that Scott Steiner has been arrested. So he's not going to be in this pay per view. Was he hurt or something? They just didn't want him there.
I don't know. I mean, you know what it is? Maybe because Scott Hall. I feel like this was the start of. Remember, like we haven't heard of Scott Hall in 3 weeks. This might be the start of like Scott Hall falling apart, and
Oh,
they were like, we'll just do a one-on-one match, and like I guess they figured out that it would be better for it to be Rick because the Soul Steiner gets destroyed. So maybe they were just
mm.
like, we'll just let it be Rick because we don't know where Scott Hall is, or he's in rehab, or he's drunk in the side of the streets or something.
Oh, so they were like, we got to get away. We don't want to do a tag match, being an excuse to get you off. I got it.
Mhm.
Um, they do plug Dennis Rodman's movie during this match. His movie Double Team with Jean Claude Van Damme. Ray, did you watch Double Team with Jean Claude Van Damme?
I did years ago. I can't remember it, but it wasn't
Wait,
that bad.
you actually watched this movie?
Yeah, years and years ago. I think I had it on VHS, but I don't remember it. But what I do remember is it wasn't the worst thing in the world.
Wow, really? Okay, that's actually a compliment. I remember seeing the trailer for this, and they have this really stupid joke in the trailer where Jean Claude Van Damme asks Dennis Rodman, "Hey, who does your hair, Siegfried or Roy?" And Dennis Rodman's like, "Please, no bad hair jokes today." I remember just seeing that and making a decision just based on that I will never watch this stupid fucking movie. Just based on that stupid joke. Because I was like, if this is the joke that they're putting on the trailer, then like I never want to watch this fucking movie. But hey, Ray Good said it's not as bad as you think it's gonna be.
I
What a
mean,
compliment.
I remember it being better than Eternals, but I don't know.
Yeah. So William Regal, he works over Prince Iakea. Prince Iakea does fight back with a springboard crossbody, but it's not enough, and the match goes back and forth between the two. William Regal, there's a point where Prince Iakea goes up on the top rope and he does like a moonsault, and William Regal just walks away from it, and Prince Iakea falls and hits the mat, similar to what Samoa Joe will start doing years later. You know that thing he does where you jump from you do a high flying move, he just walks away and you fall on your face. This William
Mhm.
Regal here did it first, and the crowd loved it here then too. Prince Iakea does fire back. William Regal tries to schoolboy roll up the Prince. However, Prince sits down on William Regal for a cover, and he wins the match. Another average match, C plus. You know, what did you
Yeah,
like it? It was just an average
I
to me.
like. Well, I thought it was better than his matches with Rey Mysterio the last 2 months. I definitely thought William Regal got more out of him. Was it the greatest? No, but it was much better than those snore fests with Rey Mysterio. Again, William Regal is just even when he's fat and drunk, he's a better worker than he can make anybody look good.
Yeah. I should note after this match, they do keep fighting, and William Regal puts on the Regal stretch. So that's telling me that this feud is not over. So we're probably gonna get another one of these. It's
Yeah,
not William
sadly.
Regal. It's I even though I like him, Prince Iakea is not over with the crowd, and he's very boring, right? And
Yeah.
that's what kind of brings it. He's not a bad wrestler. He's just boring, you know.
Mhm.
So that's kind of like what it is. So after this match, we got Mean Gene Okerlund. He is plugging the hotline, and he says, "There's a new clique emerging in wrestling. Who could be in it? Call the hotline. There was also a wrestling star who was in a car accident. Call the hotline, um, and you'll get all the answers." After he plugs the hotline, Ric Flair joins him on comment. Joins him for a
I
promo.
love like someone is injured. Give us 199 a minute. So we can tell you who's like injured and might die, and you may never see them again.
Yeah, that's basically what the hotline
Like
is.
some old
It's so
loser.
shitty.
Like if it was Hulk Hogan, it'd be on the news.
Yeah. You know what's crazy?
Mhm.
It's all this stuff now is for free, like right at our fingertips.
Yeah,
But back then, like in 1997, you really had to pay for this shit, right? Isn't
you
that
had to
crazy?
pay.
Yeah, you had
Yeah.
to pay. You had to pay to know who had who beef with who backstage. But now it's just like,
Now
you
it's
get
almost
so much
they
of it.
almost overwhelm you with things. They almost like where now the fans think they know more than the wrestlers. Like, I saw fans arguing with Baron Corbin about how WWE's he said something like, "Hey, my experience is like things like it's not that bad or someone's not that bad," and they told him he was an idiot. And it's like, bro, he was in the building. Like, I think we should take what he says. Like, he's in the building, Oos.
That's the whole Dave Meltzer syndrome.
Yeah,
Dave Meltzer will claim something happened back there, but he's not even there. Bruce Pritchard actually is. And he'll
yeah,
go, oh, Bruce Pritchard's wrong. It's like, motherfucker, he's there. Like, he's in the room. He's
yeah.
in the room with Vince McMahon. What are you talking about? Like, you're not there. Can you imagine any other company or anything else that they do shit like that, where they go like, oh, I wasn't there, but what I'm saying is more accurate than the guy who's actually in the room. Like, that's just like crazy. That's crazy
Dude,
talk.
like right now, you know what the big controversy is? Like, people are getting into fistfights over this, whether or not Mercedes Monet and other wrestlers have creative control in AEW. And Sean Ross Sapp, who I agree, was basically like, she can suggest things and Tony Khan's going to listen to her, but she doesn't have creative control. And what creative control is what Hulk Hogan had, which basically Hulk Hogan isn't going to do what he doesn't want. And if you press it, he can call his lawyer to sue you, you know, which none of these people have. And people are still like, no, she has creative control. And I'm like, no, they listen to her. But creative control would mean like, I can't, if I'm not doing this, you legally can't make me do this?
Yeah. Um, isn't it? I think it's crazy that these basement dwelling mutant people are actually disgusting, having arguments about shit like this. That's just crazy to me.
But also, it's like, because they're like, everybody has creative control in AEW. Okay, if Tony Khan's an idiot. I agree. I love how I keep defending Tony Khan on this podcast lately. Tony Khan's an idiot. I agree. But if every wrestler had creative control, meaning I'm not losing this match, and if you tell me to lose this match, I can take you to court. If every wrestler had that, how could you ever book a show? If Mercedes
You
had that,
can't. You can't.
you can't. So, like, yes, he probably does give in. Probably Mercedes Monet can say to him, "I'm not doing that," and he just gives in. But if he wants to, because he's a pussy, but if he wants to, he can probably say to her, "You're doing this or else." Like, that's it. If he wants to go down that road, but I don't think he likes to go down that road, so he probably gives in to people. But ultimately,
Yeah.
if he has two people that he gives into, someone's not going to get their way, and they legally can't do anything about it. So
Yeah, and I agree. I think that's what it is. I think he. I don't think Sasha Banks has creative control, but you're right. I think Tony Khan's kind of a pushover, which we've known this for fucking since the beginning
yeah,
of
but that's not
AEW. Yeah,
ultimately say to her, "You're going to lose to Tony Storm. That's it. I'm your boss." He doesn't want to go down that road, but she can in return, and this would be creative control. Be like, "Well, then I'll see you in court because I'm not. I remember, my contract. I can't lose unless I feel
yeah.
like it."
I think you know, Tony
Very
Khan a pushover, and there's some wrestlers there who know how to work him. There's some who don't know how to work him. But
yeah.
there's some who do know how to work him. And Mercedes, I think, is one of those people who knows how to work Tony. So, um, you know who knew how to work? Ric Flair. This guy's here with Mean Gene, to cut a promo. He says the Horsemen, and he's talking about Mongo, Jeff Jarrett, and Chris Benoit out of Flair's own mouth. Jeff Jarrett is a horseman.
All right. He later says no, but okay, we'll see.
Yeah. He says the Horsemen are fully functional. And he goes, yeah, I'm injured, but guess what? I'm coming back May 1st. That's right, I'm back. And he says, Arn Anderson, though, he ain't back. He's actually going in for surgery right now, this minute, today, or whatever. Yeah. He can't feel his hand or whatever the fuck. And then he says, you know what? What else though? The Carolina Panthers said okay to Kevin Green wrestling. And Kevin Green, May 18th, he's coming back to wrestle with the Horsemen. He said it's a done deal. And he starts calling out Hulk Hogan. the NWO, and Eric Bischoff. He said a lot, and it was good. His delivery was fantastic. Your typical, usual Ric Flair promo. I liked it. People were fired
Yeah,
up. They love Ric Flair.
I liked it too. Short and to the point. It was good. It sets up Slamboree for next month. I love that Kevin Green is now friends with Ric Flair again after everything he did to him. But hey, it
Yeah,
is what it
but I
is.
like how he said he goes like, I know we've had our differences, but we worked it out. Like I'm like, yeah, I'm glad he acknowledged that at least, So um, it's pretty cool. Yeah, that's good stuff. He gets the crowd fired up. Let's go to match number 4. Speaking of the Horseman, we got Public Enemy versus Mongo and Jeff Jarrett representing the Horseman with Deborah. Rocco Rock, he starts this match off with Mongo, and he decides to just like pie face Mongo. I was like, Jesus Christ, bro, you are ballsy.
Mm-hmm.
This pisses off the Horsemen. They start double teaming both enemy members, and they muscle them out. And the Horsemen, they both decide, we're talking Jeff Jarrett and Mongo. They go, you know what? Let's do the double strut. And they both do the Jeff Jarrett double strut, which the crowd loves. Johnny Grunge, though, he comes in and he starts getting an edge on Jeff Jarrett, putting the work on him, and Jeff Jarrett has to powder outside the ring. Mongo, he starts beating up on Rocco because there's a point where Rocco calls Deborah a bitch, and you hear it on camera. And Mongo starts beating him up. Mongo, who everyone claimed was not a good wrestler, hits a good-looking tilt-a-whirl slam right here. That was a good tilt-a-whirl. Fantastic move.
Yes,
We're the only ones who said he's not bad. He's actually pretty good for somebody with his limited
because they all
experience.
have Meltzer Rod.
That's exactly why, because they have Meltzer Rod. Johnny Grunge tries to put Deborah on the table, but Jeff Jarrett hits Grunge with a chair, which Grunge no sells. He just shrugs it off. Then they put Jeff Jarrett on the table, and they do an elbow drop, but Jeff moves out of the way of the table, and they go through the table. Rocco and Mongo, they start fighting by that a Western-themed stage area, but they all eventually return back to the ring. The referee is distracted by another referee as Jeff Jarrett has a figure 4 on Grunge. Rocco uses the briefcase on Jeff Jarrett and leaves it in the ring, just kind of like there, so the referee can see that the briefcase in the ring. Referee doesn't give a fuck because he's a WCW referee. Because Jeff Jarrett's shoulders on the mat, knocked out. Referee counts the pinfall for the Public Enemy to win. C plus, just like an average match.
I thought it was good because the reason I liked it was the Public Enemy was working a regular style as opposed to their goofy style, and I thought it was fine. It wasn't the greatest thing in the world, but it was different. It was like the Public Enemy was supposed to be a real team and not just idiots, not just people throwing garbage at each other's heads. So I liked it. Was it the greatest thing I ever saw? Absolutely not.
Yeah. We're back with Mean Gene, and he keeps mentioning this new clique. There's a new clique forming in WCW. Call the hotline and find out what this new clique is. What was this new clique?
So the idea was, and I think it was Brian Pillman's idea, and then you can kind of see the idea form here. They were going to do a new Four Horsemen, the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse, and it was supposed to be. I think it was Brian Pillman's idea. Brian Pillman was going to break away, but I think they were going to try to do it here. It was going to be Benoit, Malenko, Guerrero, and I've heard rumors of Pillman or William Regal. And they were going to first.
So Pillman was going to leave WWF?
No, in the '96 it was supposed to be Pillman, but then they still were thinking about doing it here.
Oh.
And it was going to be like the Apocalypse Horsemen. It was, how the Four Horsemen, it's like in the Bible, it's the Apocalypse.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So this is going to be the Apocalypse Horseman. It's going to be like a crazier version of the Horseman. And I think they were still thinking about doing it here. But William Regal taking the place of our best friend, Brian Pillman. But they never did it. They never did it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, after he plugs the hotline, we're going to get a very infamous segment here as he invites Harlem Heat and Sister Sherry to talk about the main event that they're going to be in. Mm-hmm. Booker T says, you don't got to worry about the clique of this new clique. The only clique you need to worry about or focus on is his clique right here, Harlem Heat. he says, "We're coming for all the gold," and then he cuts that infamous Hulk Hogan, "We're coming for you," uh, promo. But if you're watching this on Peacock, they dubbed it as "sucker." So
Yeah.
you hear Hulk Hogan, "We coming for you, sucker." What I love about this is as the words are coming out of Booker T's mouth, he has instantaneous like regret as soon as it comes out, right? It's like, oh fuck. And Sherry has this humongous smile on her face. And she like rubs Booker T like, come on, it's okay. It's funny. Um and she laughs a bit too, actually, before she cuts her promo. Very famous uh
Yeah, he thought he was like gonna be fired. Like in his head, he's like, "How could I have this slip up? I'm gonna be fired." No one knows,
yeah, yeah, I can understand
it's
him
very
feeling
very
that.
funny though. His reaction, everyone's reaction is very funny.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
I
It's a very fun segment.
Yeah,
Booker T felt bad about this segment for a really long time. You know that?
yeah, I
He
know.
he was like, I let the fans down. I was like, what the fuck, dude? I mean, he was talking like this all the way up into like 2010. He was like, I'll let the fans down. It's not cool of me. I'm like, bro, that was like 20 years ago. Like, you can let it go. He's embracing the NXT fans are kind of embracing that, and I think it made him feel better. So I'm glad that's that. But man, I thought he was being way too hard on himself. Anyways, that was probably one of the best things that's happening on this show. The show is not that good. Let's go to match number 5. It is for the U.S. title. Chris Benoit with woman versus the U.S. champion Dean Malenko. They do a good exchange between these two, which leads to a face-off. But the fans are pretty quiet for this match, and you can hear women screaming a lot, and it's so annoying. Chris Benoit hits some of the loudest chops you're gonna hear um, on Dean Malenko, but yeah, I think it's partly because the crowd's so fucking quiet. Um, he hits Dean Malenko, chops him so hard, his right hand starts bleeding. Did you notice that? He's like bleeding on his right hand. I'm like, yeah, I think
Yeah,
it's chops. Dean Malenko, however, he's maintaining control of this match with submission moves. Benoit deadlifts Dean. But there's one point where Dean Malenko has a short arm scissor on Benoit, and Benoit just deadlifts Dean Malenko up for a fucking suplex. That was pretty cool. Then all of a sudden, Miss Jackie comes out, and fans finally come alive. They're finally awoken as Jackie attacks Woman. Jimmy Hart runs out as Chris to try to like stop this as Chris Benoit hits his flying headbutt. Jimmy Hart tries to leave with the U.S. belt, but Eddie Guerrero in a sling, he comes out and he chases Jimmy Hart back to the ring with the title. Dean Malenko, who suplexes Chris Benoit from the apron to the floor, and they start fighting on the floor. Arn Anderson runs down and he attacks Dean Malenko. Then the Taskmaster shows up with like this kendo stick and he hits Chris Benoit with it. And Dean Malenko clobbers Taskmaster off the apron. The referee just calls a disqualification. There's too many people coming out. There's like Jackie comes out, fucking Jimmy Hart comes out, Eddie Guerrero comes out. There's too many people. Referee just calls a DQ. The Dungeon of Doom put the belt on Eddie Guerrero and they start dragging him out. And Eddie Guerrero's like, no, I don't want it. Afterwards, Dean Malenko pulls. A woman is checking up on a fallen Dean Malenko. Dean Malenko pulls woman back, and he wakes up Chris Benoit. And Dean looks at Chris and he goes, "He wasn't supposed to be here. I didn't want it to be like that." Guess what? I didn't want this match to be this shitty as well. I gave it a C. It's too much garbage happened in this match. Dumb, bad.
it's too long. It's too long. I don't think. I think when these guys get together, most people don't care. It's too long, and these guys need a definitive finish. I don't need Jimmy Hart walking out. I don't need Jackie walking out. I don't need Eddie Guerrero walking out. Um, it just seems like every time these guys
Master, Arn
wrestle,
Anderson, too many fucking people.
yeah, the story's not that interesting to have this many people. And whenever dude, Jimmy Hart and Sonny Ono in this era are like, I can't take this match seriously anymore. When they walk out, it's just like, yeah, you know what, I'm done with this. And then like still with the Dungeon of Doom. It's like, come on, man. Like, we got to move forward here, brother. Like, the NWO now has almost been around for a year, and you still have these fucking idiots like being distracted by the Dungeon of Doom. Let's fucking move. There's still some things that are very like pre NWO that frustrate me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is one of them. This is
Yeah.
absolutely one of them.
I
So
can't
far,
believe the Dungeon Doom was around for over 2 years. Like, because this is around the time 2 years ago we
that's
started seeing
crazy.
John. Yeah.
That's crazy
And
that they're around for that long.
there's a Nitro where the NWO just annihilates the Dungeon of Doom. Like, they just annihilate them. And it's like, why are they still around? Like, it doesn't make. I just think it's. The only thing I can think of is like Hogan wanted Jimmy Hart to have something to do. So.
Yeah, I think you're right though. I think that's exactly what it is. you
Mhm.
know. All right, let's go to match number 6. It is a singles match for the tag titles. This is stupid. This is probably what Ray's talking about. Like Scott Steiner was MIA, so they have to just end up being a singles match.
Scott Hall.
Scott Hall. Sorry. Kevin Nash, who is one of the tag team champions, he'll be representing the Outsiders. He comes out with 6, Ted DiBiase and Nick Patrick, versus Rick Steiner, who is a lot smaller than Kevin Nash, but still has the power to fucking suplex Kevin Nash very well. Um, 6 causes Rick Steiner to fall over the top rope to the floor when he's running it, and Ted DiBiase also gets a punch in on Rick. Kevin Nash hits a power bomb, but Rick kicks out, and Rick low blows Nash, and then hits a bulldog, but Nash kicks out of that. 6 tries to attack, but he gets knocked off the apron. But that allows Kevin Nash to keep attacking Rick Steiner from behind. 6 takes off one of the turnbuckle pads, and Nash snake eyes Rick on the exposed turnbuckle, not once but twice. Then Ted DiBiase gets on the apron and he goes, "Hey, that's enough. That's enough on Rick Steiner." And Kevin Nash yells, "I'll decide when it's enough." And he lifts up Rick Steiner and hits a third snake eyes on the exposed turnbuckle. This disgusts Ted DiBiase. He walks out as Kevin Nash hits a fourth snake eyes on the exposed turnbuckle. He hits a power bomb, and then he goes for the cover, and Nick Patrick is not counting the cover, and he starts yelling at a hesitant Nick Patrick, "You better hurry up and count the cover." And Nick Patrick makes the count, and then he walks out in disgust as well. C plus. This is stupid.
Yeah, Ted DiBiase, because he hasn't been a good guy in so long. He kind of comes out of nowhere because I think he's kind of like doesn't mean anything now that Eric Bischoff's around, right? But you don't need to have
Yeah.
this guy. I can't take bumps. The guy can't do anything. So I think that like we gotta get him out of the NWO. And it just kind of comes out of nowhere that he's like, so why is this now the moment where you're like, don't beat up Rick Steiner? Like, and he's not even like very convincing. I think it's because he's hesitant to like do anything physical, you know? And he doesn't even
Yeah,
look like
and same thing for Nick Patrick. Why do all of a sudden Nick Patrick care? Like this is stupid. It just comes out of nowhere.
yeah, they never cared before. Maybe listen. Maybe these guys. We're not watching on Nitros, bro. Maybe on Nitro, Ted DiBiase was like, "Oh, Kevin, don't be so mean." I don't know. Maybe, but
You said it just like that.
fucking. But like again, since we're supposed to take WWF continuity when we watch these shows, Ted DiBiase had people just murdering everyone for like the past 4 years. Now suddenly he's going to be like, "Oh, no, hurts good, Rick Steiner." Oh.
Yeah,
Um,
he's not even bleeding. Rick Steiner's not even bleeding or anything. It's just like
and again, this match, I think Rick Steiner doesn't know what to do in singles matches. He's not experienced at it, and I think the match would have been better if Rick Steiner got a little bit of a comeback and then lost. But it's just beating the shit out of him over and over and over and over and over again, and then they pin him. And I
yeah.
think Nash kind of eats him up because I think Nash in his mind is like, I'm not going to sell for this guy. I was the WWE champion, but it's not a very good match, you know.
No, it's not. It's not good at all. So far, after the opening match, it's been all downhill. Hopefully, let's see what happens in the next 2 matches. Mean Gene, he is with Lex Luger and the Giant, and Giant said we're friends, so our fight is going to be fair in the main event. And then in this next match, and Lex says we are sick and tired of what's been going on in WCW with the NWO and WCW. We want a chance at the world title, and that's what's leading to our penultimate match, the 7th match of the night. It is a number 1 contender 4 corners match. Okay, participants are you got Harlem Heat, both Stevie Ray and Booker T, with Sister Sherry and Lex Luger and the Giant. So Lex Luger and Booker T, they start the match, but then it turns into Lex Luger and the Giant both just manhandling both members of the Harlem Heat. Heat members start arguing with each other on the floor in frustration, and Sherry has to cool off Booker T and Stevie, like, hey guys, don't start fighting each other. Stevie Ray tags in Lex Luger, and so Lex and the Giant face off. This is how the four corners work. You could tag in anybody, and after one failed slam, both Lex Luger and the Giant, they go, you know what? Fuck it. Let's tag in the Harlem Heat so that they face off each other. We tag in the Harlem Heat, which gets a big pop in the crowd because the crowd's like, wow, we're finally going to see Stevie Ray versus Booker T. And these two, they do have a very good athletic exchange between these two, but they don't actually hit each other. They just do a whole bunch of moves. And they're showing off, and then Booker T tags in Lex Luger. Harlem Heat works over Lex Luger with constant tags in and out between brothers. Giant finally hot tags and he beats up both members of Harlem Heat. Giant calls for a choke slam, but then instead he tags in Lex Luger to hit the torture rack on Stevie Ray, saying you deserve it. Lex Luger wins the match by putting Stevie Ray in a torture rack. Afterwards, the Giant and Lex Luger hug. This is stupid. This was stupid. I gave it a C plus. This is just like this was a waste.
I think it's stupid.
What?
Why? Why do you think it's stupid?
So like you're doing this whole four corners thing. The whole concept is you're doing this thing. You're like, oh, there's a chance that Giant and Lex Luger might fight. There's a chance that Stevie Ray, Booker T might fight, right?
Yeah.
They don't. It's basically a fucking tag match.
Yeah,
this is basically
Giant doesn't want to fight Lex Luger. He realized his friendship. He's growing as a human being, as a person. He started off as a monster, and now he's like, "You deserve it more. I'm a young guy. They've been fucking with you. You deserve it more."
Why but like you could tell that story without booking this kind of match where you're like, oh, the Harlem Heat members could fight each other too. This is basically as a tag match. It's dumb.
Yeah. Well, they should have just called it a tag match, and
yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's dumb.
But
that
makes Giant sacrifice even more because Giant could have got the title match, and he gives it up. All he has to do is pin Booker T, and he just gives it up. He's growing as a person. Like they're trying to show growth in these characters. Like they're growing because of the NWO conflict, and they're trying to show. The thing about the baby faces in back in the day, in the 80s and 70s, used to be unselfish. And what I mean by that is Bruno Sammartino would turn down an opportunity if it was important for Bob Backlund to get that opportunity on a personal level. And nowadays, CM Punk would just be like, I don't give a fuck if so-and-so beat up your mom. I want the title shot. And babyfaces used to not be like that. They used to be like, I can wait for my title shot. I want you to have the title shot because I have honor and I'm a fair person. And that's kind of a throwback to what's going on here. That's kind of like what's going on here.
I would have done this is a tag match. However, the person who makes the winning pinfall or submission gets to be number one contender.
Well, they do that in 2 years. It's one of the worst matches that's ever been. So
what?
They do that in 2 years. They do that as the main event of Bash Beach 99. It's one of the worst matches I've ever seen. So
oh, this was to me pretty bad. I did not find this match interesting at all. I thought it was kind of hokey the way it was done.
You're not a fan of see, this is why they can't do old school baby faces, because a person who's willing to put his stuff to the side to help out his friend, I don't think resonates with people nowadays, because all we have are selfish people, especially
no. I mean, I'm okay with that, but it why are you booking this as a four corners number one? It's a tag match. It's why did you call it that? It's stupid.
Well, they didn't do four ways back then, so they had to have this tag rule. They didn't know what we know now. I mean, today it would have been a fatal four way, and they would have had fucking the Giant step out of the ring and go, "You pin them," after beating them both up. They wouldn't put the finish nowadays. I don't know. Listen, I gotta say, the Giant has been getting better all the time. I was listening to Undertaker's podcast, and Undertaker was shitting on the Giant, acting like everything he did in WCW didn't matter. And I'm like, bro, this guy's performing in main events for everybody. I mean, for everybody, for thousands.
I can't stand Undertaker's podcast,
dude. But him and Taker,
it's one of the dumbest podcasts I've ever fucking listened to. It's stupid. It's
bro.
dumb.
you are going out of business, and the Giant in the main events is outselling you, and
Yes.
you can tell the Giant, well, you're fake Diesel, fucking Kane, and you're acting like you can tell the Giant what to do. Like it's just, everyone's an idiot. Undertaker's so fucking smart. I hate that podcast, but the
I
Giant is
hate
getting
that
better.
podcast. That's just like a whole ball washing podcast. It's a vanity project for Undertaker to have this fucking his Smithers like wash his ball. Oh, Undertaker, you're so
So now
great.
it's his wife. He fired the Smithers.
Oh, he did. Oh, it's even better. Oh, it's stupid. That fucking Undertaker podcast. The more ever since the Undertaker started talking, the more I hate him. I'm like, can you just go back to like not talking, just being a dead man? Like, I don't want
Stop
to hear
why
your stupid opinions.
I think this is probably why Vince said never had him talk.
Yeah, yeah. Um, I agree that the Giant had does some really good work in WCW. Um, and I'm not saying the work in this match is bad. I just didn't like the concept of this match. I just didn't think it was
It should have,
booked poorly.
it should have been. It's hard because they don't. Only Paul Heyman is doing what we think they should do with these four guys. They don't know how to do that yet. So it's
Yeah.
hard to like. So they have to stick to this, but it's a tag match, but it's not. I don't know. It's hard. I get the point of Giant giving up the title shot for Lex Luger. I'm just trying to decide how else they could have done it with the mod. Because it's like, yeah, nowadays you'd have a 6-way or a 4-way or a ladder match where he doesn't go on top of the ladder. He goes, you go on top of the ladder, and he like there's a lot of ways that you could do this now, but it's just hard back then because they didn't know what we know. They didn't know you could have 6 guys in a ladder match, you know?
I guess. Yeah. Anyways, let's move right along. We got Bobby the Brain Heenan. We got an advertisement for Slamboree with Bobby the Brain Heenan, Dusty Rhodes, and Larry Zbyszko, all the old folks talking about, oh, really the good old days of wrestling. We're going to honor the past while presenting the future. Um, After this, we have Randy Savage and Liz walking out from the back to the ring. And Randy Savage, as he's walking, he's talking, he's going like, we're going to have a party, Liz. We're going to have a party. Slim Jims for everyone. That's fucking hilarious. That's when you know it's a party. Slim Jims for everybody.
I loved it.
By the way, I didn't know about this, but there is an actual Randy Savage biography that was written in 2024 that I'm reading right now. It's actually pretty decent. It's not bad, but it goes into like his whole history, his father and everything. How his father got into wrestling and how Randy Savage really got into wrestling because baseball failed because he got injured. And but to his credit, he picked it up like they were like the speed in which he picked things up was incredible. They were like, it was insane how fast he was picking things up. But I'm only up to that part. I'm not up to this part yet. By the way, when Liz and Randy Savage they walk out to the arena and they go to the ring, there's these two young girls that are standing outside the guardrails. They're standing right ringside. They're all dolled up. And then Randy Savage stands in front of them. He starts posing in front of them. Who are these two little girls? They're not
Probably
his
his ring
daughters
rat.
or anything, right?
Yeah, he had no daughters, bro.
Yeah.
Maybe his ring rats. I don't know. Maybe
No,
she.
no, they're like young girls. They're like young girls.
Maybe Liz's family or his family.
Oh, that's weird. It was like, why are they standing like outside the guardrail? Like they're just standing like
How young were they? 'Cause I missed. I must not have seen this. How young are they?
they were like teenagers, like 12 years old.
It might have been Liz had a bit. They had big families. It might have been a cousin or something.
Yeah, that's special treatment. Even like, hey, you get to stand outside the guardrail. That was so weird.
Maybe listen. Savage
Yeah,
was very good to his family. I heard he was very very good to his family. So I think like he's gonna give special treatment to like his cousins even.
yeah,
So
yeah. He was a family person for a long time. Um,
yeah.
all right, I thought maybe you knew his background, but it's okay. By the way, his opponent's gonna be Diamond Dallas Page, who is actually with Mean Gene in the back. Him and Kimberly, and they talk about, hey, Savage, you stepped over the line. You stepped over the line when you're talking about Kimberly, and I'm gonna find out what happens when you step over the line tonight. And that is what is going to be. By the way, Kimberly does talk. She cuts a promo too. Man, she's fucking terrible. She's very wooden promo about rage. Randy Savage has rage. Oh my god, it's awful. I
Hey,
was
have
like,
you heard the
what?
rumor that DDP and Bischoff wife swapped?
I read that rumor. I heard that rumor. Yeah.
Maybe I believe it whenever they give her the mic. I would never give her the mic. I understand
Mm-hmm.
her coming out. I will say this: when I was a kid and I saw old footage, and I was like, "Ooh, the wife is very pretty." Like, so I totally get her walking out, especially as a counterpoint to Liz. But man, when she talks, bro, she sounds like she's gonna. She sounds like she's at a MAGA convention. She sounds like such a Trumper. You know, I hate to say this, but did you watch the Briscoe brothers documentary?
No, I did not.
So AEW and the Players Club put out a little like Briscoe brothers documentary, and on it they went over what happened with Jay and they talked to the kids. And this is gonna sound bad. I was like watching this, I'm like, "Ah, man, I should feel worse for these people. Why don't I feel worse for these people?" And then I'm like, oh, you know why? Because everything about that family screams to me like they are gonna like they're gonna like they would be at the rally to restore slavery. Like it just they all everyone in the family comes across like very, very conservative, including the kids. And I'm like, these people are gonna make life harder for everybody. And I know that sounds bad, but I'm just like, I don't know.
I believe they are conservative. 100%. I think they are.
Yeah, it just
Super.
there was a weird vibe with them. There was a weird. I know that sounds bad because the little girl like got into a huge accident, but there was just a weird vibe with them. They were kind of saying things like it was good that it happened that day, and because we're gonna see him again, and they were like trying to and like doing that. I know that's a Christian thing to be like, no, it's actually great. God had a plan, but it's like, and it's been 2 years, but I don't know. I don't. There was something weird about it. I couldn't put my finger on it. Why I don't feel bad. I should feel. I thought I was gonna cry, and I'm like, yeah, okay, all right. I don't know. Am I a dick?
Isn't that no, no? Isn't that no? Because I had the same experience when I watched that China documentary. When like I watched it expecting me to be like, oh, I could finally see it from her side and I can be more sympathetic and understanding. But the more I watched it, I was like, I don't actually feel bad for her. Like
I kind of feel.
she built everything. She she put those fucking obstacles in her path. You know, like some of the shit, yeah, like was unfair, like fucking Triple H cheating on her and stuff. But you know what? Like I said, she first cheated on her boyfriend with Triple H, and number two, like who Ray, have you ever gotten your heart broken? Yeah,
Yeah,
I've got my heart broken. You know what I didn't do? I didn't start doing fucking porn. Okay, like you made these decisions as an adult, and like, why am I supposed to feel bad when you, as a adult, like started making just terrible choices, even though people were trying to like be like, hey, don't do it. She started surrounding herself with fucking shitty people. Oh, I can't get a regular. Her mom told her just get a regular job and it's okay. Live with me. Just who cares if you work at like McDonald's? She refused to do that, and that's why she kept fucking spiraling into some shitty
though, you know
people.
what? You know what though? If she went to McDonald's and it got out because Meltzer would report it, people would have went there and bothered her. So I understand she can't just go to work at McDonald's. Like when you're that big of a star, you got to fit. There's certainly a job she could have got. She can't sit at McDonald's.
Yeah,
Like
there's definitely a job she could have gotten. She was teaching English in Japan and stuff, but it was like I'm not saying I'm glad she's dead. I'm not saying that at all. It's unfortunate that she died, but I ended up like not feeling bad watching this thing, and I think that's what you
well,
mean when you're watching this Briscoe documentary. You're just like, what?
my thing with Jay Uso. I'm sorry. My thing with Jay Briscoe is his actions didn't cause the accident. Like it's not like, but we know what he tweeted out about black people and gay people, or maybe just gay people. We know that he was not a tolerant person. And I firmly believe that the family was the type of family that will gleefully make the life of my family, who is Mexican, harder in this country. And maybe I'm wrong, but that's the vibe I got off from this video. And listen, it's great. The daughter made a full recovery. It's great that Mark Briscoe's thriving in AEW. All that's great. I'm happy for them. But the
Mm-hmm.
vibe I got is that there are people who would make things harder for our families in this country. That's all I'll say. So
Okay, I think that's fair. I think that's fair.
mhm.
Um, let's go to our main event. It is a no disqualification match. Randy Savage with Elizabeth versus Diamond Dallas Page with Kimberly. They start the match on the floor. They just start fighting on the floor, and they fight the ring. And DDP has got the upper edge on Randy Savage. Savage fires back, and they fight through the crowd. And DDP hits Savage with a garbage can. And he's got the edge until Liz comes and she rakes DDP's back, which this distraction allows Randy Savage to gain control. And Savage hits DDP with Michael Buffer's chair. He fucking tells Buffer to get up and hits him with a chair, and then he slaps Dave Penzer in the face, and then takes his chair and throws it into the ring. However, throwing the chair into the ring is going to be a misstep because DDP gets a chair first, and he tosses it to Randy Savage, who holds it up, and then DDP punches Savage through the chair, which was a cool spot. Savage gets the ring bell over, and he goes up on top to like brain him with the ring bell, but Kimberly grabs the bell from Randy Savage, and Randy Savage decides I'm going to still go do a flying attack, and he dives onto DDP's boot. Randy Savage low blows DDP, but he can't get the 3 count. So he starts slapping the referee around, and he pile drives the referee, and then he whips him with his own belt, and then he hits these Randy Savage flying elbow, but there's no referee. The Nick Patrick runs down, and he's gonna make the count, but then like DDP out of nowhere hits the cutter, and Nick Patrick just starts making the 3 count. Kevin Nash gets in the ring, and he grabs Nick Patrick, and he's like, "What the hell are you doing?" Eric Bischoff and NWO all come down. Kevin Nash power bombs Nick Patrick. Randy Savage kicks DDP, and then he grabs Kimberly, but Bischoff stops Randy Savage. He goes, "No, don't grab Kimberly." The fans are chanting, "We want Sting, we want Sting." Randy Savage shoves Eric Bischoff down, and then he punches Eric Bischoff. All the NWO members are in the ring to break up this fight between Randy Savage and, what's going on? And commentary teams are like, "Oh, the NWO's in turmoil. They're in turmoil." I did not like this match. This match is not that good. It's an average ass match. C plus.
I mean, I thought it was Savage's best match in a long time in WCW. I mean, you're right; it's not the greatest, but I thought it was
No,
the
didn't
best.
he have one with like Hogan that was really good just a couple of months ago?
Yeah. But this was good too. Yeah.
No, this was nowhere near him.
I love when Savage goes nuts. Savage has a look. You know how like now like we'll cancel a guy if he does something. Savage has a look when he's holding Kimberly and he gives Bischoff a look on his face. It's the look of like, you know what? We should probably just let this guy do what he wants. Like he's so good at portraying a crazy scumbag. He is so fucking good. Now here's the thing. I don't know how this plays off on Nitros. Savage doesn't break apart from the NWO until February of next year, and they don't really. Maybe they do tease things, but I'm like, wow, this is way too soon for Savage to like already be like, fuck the NWO. It's only been 2 months, but that was weird. But I love Savage. I love when Savage goes nuts, man. He
That's
really.
actually how he got his name in the book. Somebody was writing about or reviewing his match, and they said, unlike his father and his brother, because Lanny started wrestling before Randy Savage, he said, unlike his father and his brother, Randy Poffo wrestles like a savage, right? Because he's got that look. He had like a wild man look, and he wrestles like a wild man, right? The look at the face seal he makes. And when he read that review, he was like, I like that word savage. And that's how he started using it. He wanted to break away from his father. And that's something that modern wrestling fans right now in either company, even in Japan, I don't think anybody has that right now where, you know who else had it? Stone Cold Steve Austin. Like, he has this look where you're like, this guy, he looks like he's fucking gonna like murder somebody, right?
No, because the thing about it is John Moxley will stab Hangman Adam Page with a knife, and then the next day Renee Paquette will make a video of him like playing like fucking patty cake with his daughter and talk about what a great dad he is and shit. And it's like if right after this Savage had like his niece post like, oh, he took me to the movies and then he like fucking drove me around town. He's such a good uncle. Like, it just ruins him choking Kimberly. Like,
Yeah.
and everyone has to have this thing where it's like, well, actually, this guy's not that bad, and we do really like him. And it's like, and the people who try, like MJF, the people who tried, he just go for lowest common denominator. Like MJF said the other day that talked about Jimmy Uso, Jimmy Briscoe, Jay Briscoe dying. Like that's what he mentioned, and it's like, yeah, but that's not the same as Savage grabbing Kimberly by the throat. That's real fucking danger, bro. That's real
Yeah,
fucking.
because people like Austin and Savage, they mastered this crazy eye look,
Yeah.
right? Like they tell so much story with just their eyes, and that's something that, like I said, modern wrestling fans,
Well,
nobody right now has it. I'm trying to think of somebody who has
bro, modern men don't have that because you know why you get those crazy eyes? Because you're allowed to lose control. You're allowed to lose control at a bar, and you don't have to worry about someone filming you, putting it on social media. So modern men don't have. I guarantee you, they would lose their cool in real life. I know. I heard Deborah about the abuse she got from Steve Austin,
that. Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
yeah,
Austin really did lose control.
yeah, and what I'm saying is you're not allowed because if you get like that, then you start to become, a public figure. The video is going to come out, the text messages, the crazy, and then you're done. And then you're done. So you're not. I'm not saying, oh, it used to be so much better. You could be a fucking abusive piece of shit. What I'm saying is men have to be aware that they can't go ballistic in a social situation.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. There really isn't a modern day wrestler right now who
No,
has that
because you
like
have to,
crazy ass look.
dude. If you think about it, you have constant surveillance on. You have constant surveillance. Everything you do is documented. So if you fucking start screaming somewhere, someone's gonna pull out a phone.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you would think, okay, in wrestling, you're like, I gotta have this look to
It,
like,
it comes from within. They don't have it.
oh, you're,
You're trained. You're trained now
it
from
comes
birth.
from within. You
It
have
comes
to
from
legit
within.
be crazy. That's the only reason. That's the only reason why Macho Man had that look, because he really was crazy.
It comes from within, and it's just, dude. Like I used to lose my cool a lot more in my 20s, and I don't anymore. Number one, people don't tolerate it, and number two,
Yeah.
if I'm filmed, if I'm filmed at like this, that's why I didn't yell that night at the stand. If I'm filmed at the stand screaming and yelling, like, and that,
They're not filming the backstory. They're just filming you going crazy. Yeah.
yeah. And when I was 22, I might have screamed and yelled at the stand that night, but like, I can't lose control. I have to be okay and leave. I'd be
Yeah.
like, it's better to just not do anything because you're not going to win. And I'm a 40 something year old man. So imagine how 20 year olds and 30-year-olds feel. Like you
Yeah.
can't. Savage was able to lose control in real life, and he was able to tap into that. And he now, if he was born today, he'd be training himself to be calm all the time.
Hmm. I wish I could have walked away from this pay per view because it wasn't fun. I This was not a good main event. It was average. The only match I liked was the first one. I cannot see I cannot see WWF having a worse show than Spring Stampede in April, in my opinion.
Well, don't forget it's a three-way dance, brother. Because next week is ECW barely legal. So
Oh, so the month of April of 1997, we're actually going to be watching three pay per views. So we're going to now decide we're going for who has the best pay per view of the month for three companies: WWF, WCW, and ECW. Okay, that makes it different. Oh, interesting. I'm tell you what, it's not WCW. This pay per view.
so let's go over the next 4 weeks.
All
Next
right.
week is ECW barely legal with the main event of Raven versus Terry Funk. In two
Yeah.
weeks, it's In Your House Revenge of the Taker with the main event of Bret Hart versus Steve Austin. In 3 weeks, it's In Your House A Cold Day in Hell with the main event of Steve Austin versus Undertaker. And then in 4 weeks, it's Slamboree 97 with the main event of the NWO Wolfpack, consisting of Nash, Hall, and X Pac, versus Kevin Green, Ric Flair, and Rowdy Roddy Piper. What are
Ugh.
you excited for?
Um, I guess I want to see the ECW pay per view. I'm not really excited for Roddy Piper. I know 1997 he's selling tickets, but I can't stand Piper. What about you?
Uh, I'm excited. Really the only thing I'm excited for in those four shows is next week. ECW Brother Legal. I'm excited to finally start talking about ECW.
Yeah,
Um,
same here.
don't remember those other two in your house as being good, and Slamboree sounds. It kind of feels like starting with this show because Hulk Hogan went away. They're in a holding pattern, and they're just
Mm,
having events to have events, and they're just biding their time till Bash the Beach '97, where that's where things start picking up again. But that's the vibe, and that's the vibe I got even when I got back into wrestling, reading the results. I'm like, oh, these few months sound very boring, and that's why I've never watched them. And I didn't hate this show, but it wasn't interesting. It wasn't it was just 3 hours of wrestling.
mhm.
And also the other thing about this show is the urgency of the NWO kind of feels like it's ebbing away. It kind of feels like they're just like another group. The urgency is kind of dying out, and but we'll see. So I'm not really looking forward to Slamboree, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yep.
All right. So guys, that's the podcast. Give us a like, follow us, subscribe to us, and we'll see you next week. Well, we're gonna go extreme, and you guys are gonna go extreme with us. With ECW barely legal. We'll see you then.